implementation where actually Google School over at Shadow Ridge, which is in my district, and that is a great opportunity not only for students to teach teachers, but teachers to teach students. And so they also are in a race for a grant to have a 21st century building design for technology. There needs to be a little bit of a balance though too, because technology is very expensive and it changes very fast. And when it doesn't have power to it or it doesn't work, you have to have those skills to fall back on to be able to get to the answer that you need. So I think, yes, we need to be into technology, but we need a balance so that we know we have the skill set that the kids need.
All right. Thank you. 3 set. Another panel.
My name is Tim Patara. As a millennial voter, I can ask this question. My chair will over to you. What is your opinion on political correctness in the school system and cultural narcissism?
Well, I think sometimes political correctness can go way too far to where we're not even communicating with each other. And so sometimes we always need to be respectful and embrace that everyone is different and that they need to be valued and heard. But sometimes being too politically correct pretends that there aren't differences or that there aren't issues. And so in a world of respectful dialogue, I think sometimes we need to move back just a hair from being too politically correct.
Thank you.
All right, next panelist.
Hi, my name is Pamela Caden. I'm with Evolution Travel. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you.
So you talk about going back to technology because I know that, like I said, I see kids in 5th grade that are more advanced than me in technology. So, I mean, in order to be competitive, in order to have those people come back, what are we doing? I know that you said that we have to have a balance. I don't know. I'm just wondering how the balance of the old way and new technology is going to be competitive and bring people back. Because balance it's going one way. That's it. Technology.
Well, and I agree. It is really heading that way. But I don't know about you, but I've been in a store where it's either been myself or somebody else, and the power goes out, and the person at the cash register, they can't make change. They can't do anything. They don't know how much money to give you back. So I think that needs to be that balance. Those simple skill sets that we all need to have. The technology piece, I think we're doing some great and amazing things. Our partnership with Switch is one of many that we have. And also one of our Southwest Career and Tech schools does a coding program that is actually a partnership where they listen to the business community here to know what kind of coding they needed to learn to be ready for the job market when they got out there. So,
very good. Thank you.
My name is Robert Faust. Thank you for being here today. My question to you is simply, what are we going to do, or what's the school district going to do about the inappropriate mixture of teachers and students?
So what we have are many rules and that in place. The problem is, if no one's ever been caught, it doesn't come up on their background. So we've actually been proactive. We talked with our superintendent about this as far as being proactive to have that voice saying, if you are seen doing this or caught doing this, we will assist in full prosecution to every level. We've also started some professional development to make sure that our other teachers and those people in the buildings are recognizing those telltale signs.
Next panelist.
My name is Scott LaFava. I'm with Citizens for a Better America. Can you comment in terms of the current performance of the school board and go ahead and give us a rank of A, B, C, D, E, or F? Maybe not E.
Is A the best?
A would be the best. Go ahead and give us a rank.
And then what criteria are we going to use as performance?
Well, I'm going to leave that up to you. That's the question's up to you.
So, on being proactive in changing and reformatting where our district is going, I'd say we're a B. We're actually a pretty innovative and gutsy board, willing to take chances and actually change our governance structure that will now evaluate us and that. Because if we're going to evaluate teachers and principals, we might as well be in that mix too. You're only as good as the people that you surround yourself, and if you can't stand up to what you put them through, then you shouldn't be a leader. So I think we're a B, and we're still growing and improving too. It's like any business out there. You have to keep growing and improving and changing, or you get left behind.
Hi, Christine. Good afternoon. My name is Rowena Griffith, and I'm the founder of Shine Family Foundation. My question to you is, if elected, what are your top 3 objectives?
So, top 3 objectives is to finish out getting our budget aligned so that those dollars truly do align to every line item in our budget, which is a big budget. And that. Second is to get our graduation up. We're still growing. When I first came on the school board, it was 62%. We're now at 72%, and we are one of the fastest improving districts in the nation. We're not where we need to be yet by any means, but we are one of the fastest improving ones there. So that's going to be a big one. And so with that, I think the third thing for me is being able to talk about the equity issue. It has to be something we address here. Our demographics have changed, and if we don't do that and have those children be as effective as children of affluence, it's going to hurt our community all the way around. We need members of our community that are contributing and not taking resources out without putting them back in. So those are my
All right, that looks like all our panelists have been, asking questions. Thank you, panelists. We have people in the audience. Would you like to answer or ask a question? I have a gentleman out there. Will you please give him a microphone? Please state your name and a question, please.
Stephen Dempsey. I'd ask a question about the ELL, and until Friday I had no idea what it was even about. Thank you, Kevin Wall. He had a segment on it. I was glad to hear that you said that they're starting to evaluate programs. Do the parents of students who are involved in these programs, do they get an opportunity to submit their thoughts on how it should be evaluated? In other words, I think the biggest public objection is that the parents of children that really care and want to advance are treated the same ways as the kids and the parents that couldn't care less, and they don't think that's fair. Why should their children be held back because some people don't want to learn? And if you can address that as far as the English language learners.
Sir, what is the question really quick so we can get through this?
Well, I just wanted to know if the parents of children that care would be able to get involved in that evaluation of English language learner program that you mentioned.
Right, and so we had many town halls, I think a total of 11 town halls, and that where parents were able to come forward. We had many community members, too, that were part of that task force, some from the university system, some from the business community and the chambers, and just parents, too. And through our FACES, which is our family and community engagement piece. So yes, and then the other piece that we have is a survey that goes out to every parent in the district. And so that's an opportunity for them to give their input too, along with some other parent groups that we have where individuals can serve on a committee and almost be advisory to the district.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do we have another question from the audience? Please state your name and your question, please.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Garvey. My name is Karen Stillman. I'm the Auxiliary Director with Veterans in Politics. And my question to you is a general question. It seems to me like schools and education have come a long way from actually educating our children. And so I'd like if you could address what you see as the role of educators in our society today.
So, unfortunately, in the last few years, it seems like educators it's been put on their plate. You must do everything. You must teach our children. You must give them their moral compass. You need to take care of their wraparound, service needs as far as taking care of all their needs and that. And unfortunately, I don't think that that's something that should happen. Teachers take it on because they care and they don't want to see children suffering in their classroom. They'll take on that extra duty of finding somebody to get glasses for Johnny. They'll take on that extra duty of comforting a child who had a horrible, horrible experience the night before in his own home. What do we need to do? I think as a society, we need to start supporting families, supporting each other in doing what we used to do. and that so that teachers can do mostly what they should be doing, and that's teaching the classroom. But I got to tell you, all my teachers, they adore, at least they pretended to adore me. So
Thank you.
I don't want that to go away.
Sorry, everybody here pretends to adore me.
We have one more question for anybody in the audience. You have our panelists.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, you all right? This is just for the audience.
Okay.
So you guys already had your time. I'm really sorry. All right, so
He's so
I'm going to ask the
awesome.
question really quick is, why do you want to be elected as school board trustee in 1 minute to the panel?
Could you move closer to the microphone?
Oh, okay. So the reason I want to continue in this journey is, one, I do believe in public service. It's always been part of my upbringing. My parents instilled that in me in an early age. It is one of those things that I love solving problems. I'm engaged in this work. I see movement in it, and it really invests in our future. I'm a native Nevadan. I grew up in northern Nevada and then moved here in '89 where my husband grew up. And I want our state to be better. I don't want us to be at the bottom of the list for all the good things and the top of the list for all the bad. Because this is a great place, and it's served me well. And I got a great education here in Nevada, so I want to pass that along.
All right. Thank you, Trustee Bobby. And that goes to the office of school board district B as in boy.
Or best.
Or best. There you go, best. So anyways, we want to thank
Thank
the
you,
sponsors
everyone.
again. We always want to
Thank
do
you very
this.
much.
Scott Gormley of Rhythm Kitchen, Ron Q Foundations, Paul Padilla, owner of Paul Padilla Law, Michael Broadway, Robert Stoffel Law Group, Brent Jones of Real Water, everybody got their water
Could
in
you
their
bring up that
hands,
chair and slide
and
it
of
over?
course, George Wilson of All Talk Radio.net, and the incomparable, wonderful Mr. Kevin Wall from Battleborn Radio. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Patrick.
Because my schedule is on my phone. Tim has it. Tim, what time is the next one?
It's 2:21.
What?
It's 2:21.
And the next interview's at 2:30?
I'm just doing something to check.
They all redid their evaluation. There's this thing that
We do. We got 10 minutes.
Do you know Carol Flores?
So we got. We have 8 minutes. 8 minutes.
He should come all the way over here just to put fresh pepper on his salad.
So what I gotta do is, we gotta go find out what everybody else is doing to see how we're doing relative to what we're doing.
Really?
That's not the way to run a business or run a school. We want to be the best in the world.
You guys actually have one of those large ones.
No, you can only have one.
That's Jim's crowd.
You can only have one parent. Parents never come back.
There might have been some.
Is that what I'm saying?
Adam, we gotta go. Let's put people up there.
Oh crap! No, you don't need. I said you don't need a lot.
All right, panel, let's get our candidates up here. Candidates. Oh, there we go. This will be interview with Clark County School District C. District C. Candidates, take your, panelists, take your places, please. Panelists, take your places. Can we lose panelists? I respect everybody's time, so. Are we recording? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen out there in TV land. This will be an interview with School Board Trustee District. This is C. And we have, one candidate. And that would be Trustee Linda E. Young. So give her a round of applause. We have ground rules, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, this is not a debate. This is an interview, so ask your questions accordingly. State your question, and she will answer. You have 30 seconds to state your question. She has a minute to which in terms to answer the question. So, do we have the panel ready? And who would like to go first on the panel? State your name and your question, please. Mr. Llewellyn, would you like to go first? Are you ready? I guess not. Mr. Broadway, you want to go?
Sure.
Okay.
I guess I need that microphone back.
You need a microphone? You can take the microphone. Which one? Okay.
Put this here for the
There
extra
you
people.
go. Just for the record, none of the other candidates showed up.
Boo!
So
There you
far,
go.
maybe they'll.
Yeah?
Well, then they'll be late, right?
That'll be up to the panelists that if they want to let them come in. So let the record reflect that.
Hi, Michael Broadway, Veterans in Politics. I guess I have, my question's for you. Can you tell me what your thoughts are on campus carry as well as teachers being armed in the school district?
You have a minute.
After being trained, of course, not
Yeah.
just armed.
You have a minute.
Campus, when you say campus carry?
Campus carry for, say, the colleges, just your opinion on that, and then as well, teachers that have had training, CCW permits in the school districts.
Okay. I taught at high school, and we had issues sometimes with violent kinds of interactions, sometimes with students. Not often with staff, but sometimes with students or students out on the streets. And my real take on that is that if people are appropriately trained, if people are given the background, for example, good background checks, and have the understanding, sometimes, you know, that could prevent a lot of issues that happens on the school. I'm not saying it's for everyone, but there may be people such as yourself, as a military person, who have had training, and you have gotten that kind of not only information but background support. I think it must be considered. It has to be a consideration. Consideration for
Go
sure.
ahead and finish your thought if you like.
Just a consideration for sure.
Okay, next panelist, please.
Kevin, I just want to put on the record, I'm not a military person.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries. Thank
No
you.
problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, Pat. Hi, Patrick Llewellyn, Veterans in Politics. As far as technology and embracing that into the classroom, like at the earliest levels, kindergarten, first grade, and bringing that up through the 12th grade, factoring in, I know technology changes by the day, but what are the plans and measures in place now to fully embrace cutting-edge technology for our students?
The district has a very aggressive.
1 minute. Go ahead.
Okay, the district has a very aggressive program that encompasses all of the instructional areas. Students, we've got Google as a part of partnership. We've got Amazon in terms of different tablets. Certainly, we've got all of the various computers from Samsung to Compaq to the various computers throughout the school district. The technology is highly integrated into the classroom and into the instruction. And quite frankly, it opens up a whole world for students. Students come from the first grade, kindergarten to the first grade, and to the 12th grade. They know a lot more than I've ever began to know. And it's the way the world is operating, and it has to be that way.
Okay. Next panelist, please.
Dr. Fred Conquest from CSN, Executive Director of the Citizens for a Better America. Would you support a complete forensic audit of the Clark County School District so everybody kind of knows where the money's going?
Absolutely, absolutely. Any kind of an audit. We have an open book on the website, but any type of audit, this is your and our money, and every penny and how it's spent and how it's going toward instructional programs, towards students, towards salaries, has to be audited. And absolutely, any time that we need to do that, I would support that wholeheartedly.
Okay, next panelist.
Hi, ma'am. My name is Tim Patara. I'm a millennial voter and a college student. I'm asking all this question. What is your view on political correctness in our education system?
Political correctness in our educational system?
Yes. Your opinion on it?
Well, my opinion of it, I'm probably one of the people that's not always politically correct because politics, I think, always gets in the way of sometimes what is honest and what is needed. And so we shade and we move things around and we say things that people want us to say. And I think that's very harmful in the long run. It doesn't provide the basis for trust. It doesn't provide the basis for us elevating the conversation, and we play games with words. And we make words out to be one way, and then our actions become another way. I'm not a big fan of political correctness, personally.
Okay, thank you. Next panelist, thank you.
Hi, my name is Pamela Caton, and I'm with Evolution Travel. What programs do you have in place for children who have physical disabilities? Meaning children who are not developmentally disabled, but those who just have a physical disability where they can comprehend the work, they can participate in it, they just need assistance, physical assistance.
Okay.
Do you have any kind of inclusion program?
Okay, we have probably a variety of programs that I would like to share with you. First of all, as much as we can, we try to do inclusion. Students learn well from each other. And even though a student may have some physical handicaps or disabilities, that doesn't take away from their mind. It doesn't take away from their ability to share. And guess what? The students on the other side can be so helpful as well. So it's very, very important. The other part to that is that we have physical therapists. We have people who work in what we call occupational therapy to help students. For example, if they're having problems writing, there's kind of like not mechanical things, but some kinds of aids to help them to do that. If they're having trouble pushing themselves out of a wheelchair, they have programs and assistance where they're taught by these therapists what the student can do so that they can become as much more independent and as much involved as they can.
Time.
So we have good programs.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Young.
Yeah, thank
My
you.
name is Robert Faust. My question is, where are you on school vouchers? Do you approve or not approve?
My idea on vouchers is that when students need, I believe in what we call options for students. I believe in openness where parents and students can make their choices. So I'm a big fan of choices. What I am not a fan of is taking money away from maybe public schools or programs that are already in dire shape, and then taking those funds and putting them maybe in private schools or taking them and putting them in other programs, kind of schools. I do support anything that can help parents make a decision about maybe other educational programs, but we're already in dire straits in the Clark County School District. And the voucher program really is taking away from a lot of my schools that have very limited funds.
Linda, my name is Scott LaFotte. I'm with Citizens for a Better America. Just give us a simple answer about what is the most important issue that you will address if you're elected.
Simply getting qualified educator in every classroom. Getting more people to even go into the educational field. And making sure that they're not only qualified, but they're passionate about learning, because learning makes a big difference in our world and in our city.
All right, great, thank you.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is, do you have another follow-up question?
No, we don't. We're going to wrap up, and so I guess she gets a minute to.
Well, I'm going to give her a minute, but hold on, let me see the audience. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to give a question? Keep it limited down to a question so she can answer it for a minute. Thank you, sir. You state your name and the question.
My name is Stephen Dempsey. I've been asking questions about ELL. And if you participated in that, which I understand you are because you're the incumbent, do you think that was done fairly and that will improve things as far as where the people's money goes to help their children that want to learn?
What I think is that it's an improvement of what we've had. Is it the best? We don't know yet. We're going to try. We're going to look at it. But the bottom line of what I really liked about the program was maybe four components. One is ELL and non-ELL students. We need to have students speaking more languages. I went to China. Those students are speaking 3 languages. We're the only country where people mostly only speak one language. I am encouraging students here to speak more than one language. English, maybe another language, like Spanish or French, and I would suggest a Mandarin. The other component to the program that I really liked was we've got to get parents and community, more parents engaged in their child's education. And that has a strong focus on that. The other part that I liked about the program was that it is going to do a lot more in following students, not necessarily isolating students and putting them over here, but integrating them into the educational program so that not only do they learn, but their students learn.
Okay, is there anybody else from the audience who would like to ask a question? Thank you so much. State your name and your question, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Young. My name is Karen Steelman. Thank you for being here today. I'm the Auxiliary Director with Veterans of Politics. My question is about funding. It's an issue that comes up with many candidates and elected representatives. I'm familiar with budgeting on the state level, and so that kind of trickles down into city and county. from my own personal experiences, I know for a fact that most budgets can be cut 20% right off the top and not ever affect salaries or effectiveness of the offices. So you mentioned that there's an issue with funding and we're not getting enough funding. Had you considered the spending portion of that formula?
Yes, and interesting you would ask that. Last summer, we literally sat down and went line by line through every budget because we needed to, from our perspective, and someone asked about having, Mr. Conquest asked about having an audit or having the budget always reviewed. I totally agree with that. And in fact, I think the budget should always be open, and people that have understanding of budget needs to sit down, even in a large group, and say, hey, had you thought about this? Had you thought about this? Had you thought about that? And even if that is a part of an educational program that is a continuation, it still ought to be questioned. So any kind of review such as that is always welcome. And we can always try to cut and shave. Always.
Time.
Thank you so much.
All right, that concludes our interview with District C School Board Trustee. So let me note this again. There were 3 other candidates that registered and they did not show up. And this is Trustee Linda Young. She is the president of the School Board, Clark County School Board Trustees. So again, I want to thank the sponsors, Scott Cromley of Rhythm Kitchen Restaurant, Ron Q Foundation, Paul Padilla, owner of Paul Padilla Law, Michael Broadway, Robert Stoffel Law Group, Brent Jones, owner of Real Water. You guys got your waters, right? Good. So, and of course, George Carson, owner of alltalkradio.net, and the wonderful, talented Mr. Kevin Wall of Battleborn Radio. Thank you so much for being here. Dr. Young, it's a pleasure. You're going to be around to answer any questions?
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy. Are you guys ready for the next candidate? Because we can get this moving. Okay, good.
Thank you.
Or do you guys want to take a 1-minute break?
Let's go. Let's do
Let's
it.
go. Okay. Let's rock and roll. So.
Yeah, no tripping today. Yes, I do.
I remember that.
Okay, so our next interview will be Clark County School District, District E. E is in Edward, all right? And our candidate, we only have one who is an incumbent. Her name is School Board Trustee Patrice Chu. Give her a round of applause. Again, we have rules of engagement. Remember, this is an interview, not a debate. Everybody say not debate.
Not a debate.
So ask your questions. You have 30 seconds to ask a question. And the candidate has 1 minute to respond. 1 minute only, please. Thank you so much. So who would like to go first of our esteemed panelists? Dr. Conquest, go ahead.
Dr. Fred Conquest from CSN and Executive Director of Citizens for a Better America. What is your opinion of having Common Core taught throughout the Clark County School?
I think it's been a bit of a travesty that this was a federal mandate. I'm sorry that a program was put forward where we didn't adequately prepare our teachers. I think probably all of us agree in competency and increased rigor. I think the way that this came down, the way it was rolled out, was very unfortunate.
You'll have to get closer to the microphone. We're recording this.
Oh, we can bring it up to you.
There you go.
5'10" makes a little difference with this.
Okay, next panel.
Tell us your thoughts on campus carry, and do you support teacher carry in K through 12?
I think for those who have that concealed weapons license, I think that ought to be permitted. I ought to be indicated to the principal that there is a carry just out of deference to a principal knowing what's on campus. But I do believe in that.
Thank you. Next panelist, please.
Hi. Hi, Patrick Llewellyn, Veterans in Politics. I myself have 3 kids in the public school system. It seems like as far as the technology that they have access to at the school is less than what they have access to at home or through their games or anything. What is the plan or the measures in place to get just the cutting edge level of technology at the all the way down to kindergarten, first grade, and through the 12th grade, please?
So I think the intent is to have a 1-to-1 ratio. A lot of that depends on funding. Our Title I schools don't have that problem with technology because they get federal funding, whereas those schools who are not qualified as Title I, it is more difficult. One of the things that is bright in the future is that there are the 21st century learning. There's things like blended learning, where online learning and the computer technology that you're talking about is part of it. But the way the classroom is run, it can sustain that kind of aggressive learning with a 1-to-3 ratio. So that kids are active participators. They're not always on the computer, but it's a rotational model. So that the difficulty of technology is that over the last 20 years, we've spent $60 billion on technology.
Time. Yeah, finish your thought, please.
And that it hasn't really moved the student achievement dial. So there are other things that need to be done to enhance student learning.
Next panelist, go ahead, please.
My name is Tim Pitar. My question is, what's your opinion on cultural Marxism and political correctness in our education system?
I think that all the kids and the staff, I think that teachers need to feel like they're in a safe and respected environment. And I think that everybody needs to feel like they have a place at the table in order to say what they say, or need to say. I think we all represent diversity of one kind or another, whether it be cultural, ethnic, religious, or not religious. And what we need to do is respect those differences equally.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Tim. My name is Robert Faust. Where do you stand on the school vouchers? Are you for them or against them?
I love the idea of parent voice and parent choice. I think that because I am a constitutionalist, because I believe in the Constitution of Nevada, as it's written right now, that the funds of Nevada are to support public schools. So it's a hard road that's being tread right now in terms of vouchers, of privatization, of funds following children to private. Because I look at that Constitution and I believe in public education. That being said, that's not to say that something in the future can't evolve as perhaps language is changed in the Constitution.
I'm Scott Mafado with Citizens for a Better America. My question is just simply, what is the number one issue that you'll address if elected?
So the thing that I think is so critical and is an untapped gold mine is parent engagement and community engagement. And when you see schools engage their parents and engage the families in helping their children, it knocks it out of the park. Schools that have high poverty, schools that have high ELL, schools that have parents who are working 2 and 3 jobs, and that the kids are low performing, that they're 2 and 3 grades below proficiency. You teach those parents you teach them the tools and how to reinforce what's being taught in the classroom, in the home, and you watch that student achievement rapidly grow up. So parent engagement is my number one focus.
Very good. Thank you very much.
All right, that concludes our panelists. Do we have anybody in the audience out there who would like to ask a question? Please step forward. Yes, sir.
I have one more.
What's that? You have one more? You're already let the people from the audience, please. I'm just messing with you. Go ahead. These guys are my friends. I love them.
Yeah, it's his day to be a jerk. It's okay.
That was all.
Yeah, but I'm trying to keep it in a great guideline.
There
I'm
you
the
go.
bumper, right?
Whatever. You must work on the school district.
Oh my God. Shame, blame,
And he's
shame,
run for
blame.
every office out there.
Michael Broadway, Veterans in Politics. One quick last question. Transgender in the bathrooms. What's your take on that?
My take is that the community needs to weigh in on this, that the parent voice needs to be heard on this, that all children need to be in a safe environment. I think there are lots of solutions out there. Right now, our new elementary schools are being built with the male and the female bathrooms and a family bathroom, so that anyone can go to that family bathroom. So there are solutions out there. I think that if we don't listen to the community and our family voice, then I think we make a big mistake.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody from the audience? Let's get the audience first, panelists. And we have a short time. You have another question?
Yes.
And please come up to the mic. State your name, your question, and our panel will have 1 minute.
Okay, my name is Claudia Thomas. I'm a grandmother in this area. And here's my question for you. You had mentioned earlier about situations where in a classroom you have children that are really, really struggling and not keeping up with the expectations of that grade level. What's the policy in CCSD for passing those children along to another grade level when they're not really prepared for it? And then hence the effect it has on the children that are prepared for it now being slowed down or neglected because we have to attend to those that aren't quite ready for it.
So probably some of the most exciting legislation that came out of 2015 was the 3-by-3 legislation, which put more resources into that critical age when we talk about kids who from pre-K to 3, they're learning to read, and then at 3, they're reading to learn. And so extra funding has been critical, and we're very excited about that because there's more personnel, there's more funding on a state level and a federal level. I think that I mentioned that blended learning that actually allows the teacher to see the gaps in the individual child's learning. Blended learning is something that is student-centric, and they go forward at their own pace, place, and time. I know that I'm not giving you very much instruction, but it is so exciting on how we can close the gaps that you're talking about.
Time. You can finish up your thought, please.
Well, just that the idea of kids being automatically promoted, that has to be watched. We don't automatically retain them, but we need to monitor their student achievement in their growth too.
All right, so I'm gonna you have one more question?
Yeah.
Keep it simple, please.
Okay. I teach a lot of the students that come out of the CCSD, and the one thing I find is they haven't really read a lot. I asked the question, how many books have you read that's not part of the textbook? And some people said 0 for the whole of high school. How can we improve the learning through what worked for 500 years that we're seemingly just dissing away?
So can I just ask, is it books of their own choosing or even novels on the school level?
Novels on the school level or books of their own choosing?
That they've not read one?
Yeah, that's what they said. I took a survey of mine after a one-on-one class.
Wow, because I know that according to the curriculum and to what teachers' syllabi are saying,
that the books are there to be read, and so I don't know if they're somehow not. Because I do know a lot of them go to Spark Notes and a lot of different kinds of publications that give summaries of books that they may be getting through and buy on that.
Because, no, just
It's
a
not a
quick
debate.
follow-up.
It's
Just a
not a
quick-
debate. It's not a debate. Just a
No,
question.
just a quick follow-up. For example, like, I asked him, have you read Homer's Iliad? No. Have you read Robinson Crusoe? You know, and these guys are going, and I'm going, how can this be?
Well, and one of the shifts has been in that Common Core approach that it's more technical reading, more nonfiction. So that is a problem.
Right. That'll conclude. We're going to give the candidate 1 minute to say why she wants to be elected. So the floor is all yours, trustee.
Thank you. I think that on the basis of having built a lot of relationships of trust and a willingness to listen to staff, to teachers, to principals, and especially to parents and community members, that dialogue and that willingness to listen and to make the amalgam of what this community needs to do to address their problems is critical. I will always advocate for parents and family engagement. I will always advocate for teachers, for retaining and encouraging teachers to come here. They are a critical component with our families, and I will always advocate for transparency and to be accountable for what we do. So in my vote, candid and honest is really instructive for me. Even though we didn't have a debate, I don't mind hearing what's in your mind and in your thoughts. So thank you for your time.
All right. Give her a round of applause. So this will conclude our School Board Trustee District E interview. Again, let's give another round of applause for Trustee 2. Pardon? Yeah, no, we're gonna, let me, you can talk to everybody after, right? I promise. So I want to thank our sponsors, Scott Bromley, owner of Rhythm Kitchen Restaurant, Ron Q Foundation, Paul Padilla, owner of Paul Padilla Law. We have Michael Broadway to thank, Robert Stoffel Law Group, Brent Jones, owner of Real Water. Everybody's got their water, right? Shake it up. It's wet, right? George Carson, owner of AllTalkRadio.net, and of course, the wonderful, talented Mr. Kevin Wall of Battleborn Radio. Again, thank you, panelists. Thank you, candidates, for coming out, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome, guys. That was honored, even though I'm a jerk.
Oh, that's funny.
But that's when I'm supposed to be up here, all right? Keep it moving.
So you must be friends, like go way back.
What's that?
Hey, thank you.
He needs to stop. It won't
And if
stop.
you guys want, I'll
All right, panelists.
And if you, hey,
Don't leave the room.
Steve, if you ever want to do a town hall on education, let us know.
Moderator.